Oh, Bart. Why don't we talk later, tonight, after I close,
Thanks, Belle, but I'm going to be working late tonight.
Sweetheart, darling, tell me, is it because of my limb?
No.
Is it because of my eye?
No.
These effects that I... Oh, Bart. You've got a white horse. Why can't you have a white girlfriend?
You remember when those 4 dudes tied me up and threw me in the well?
Yeah.
Well, that was for having a white horse.
I spelled that. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Piloting Air, the podcast about unaired, unloved, and unhinged pilots. I am the sheriff of this here town, Joe Young. And with me, as always, is my trusty deputy steward. How you doing, steward?
Now, how y'all doing?
Oh my god, you're sounding a little old westy. Like you're
Mr. Haney.
Yeah, are you stumbling around drunk in the town square with your pants falling half down? And today we are joined by our old friend. You know him as half of Bill and Rob's An Excellent Adventure. It's Bill Tilley. How's it going, Bill?
I've come a riding into town, whomping and a whooping. Ever living podcaster within an inch of his life. As I quote from a movie that is better than the TV show we are about to talk about. Yeah, I'm doing great, guys. Doing great.
Thanks for coming, Bill.
Yeah. You bet. This is awesome. Dream come true. Aw, you make a guy feel special.
That's what Stu do.
Do that.
He do that.
That's a great t-shirt. And that TV show we're about to talk about is the 1975 Blazing Saddles TV spinoff, Black Bart. It is truly a black A when this idea for this came about, I think. Although, I don't know, maybe their ideas were kind of, and some of it in the right place, but this is just one of those pilots that I'm mystified that somebody thought this was a good idea in the first place. I liked it.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it, honestly. I genuinely laughed at a couple of parts of it. I mean, there is a blanding going on, not as funny or outrageous as the movie, but I mean, it is TV. It is, and I gotta say, this is the second time through that I watched it. It's been a while since the first time, and the second time did grow on me a bit. There was a little bit more to like once you repeat viewing on there, but that's always a tricky thing because the pilot's supposed to get you right out of the gate. So I can see how the good parts of this get kind of lost in the first go through.
I've watched it 6 times and parts of it grew on me, but I felt like every time I was rewatching it that I was watching it for the first time.
The writing was just that good.
Just a lot of it was just very forgettable.
Yeah, it's like they've gone for the easiest jokes that you figure somebody would on this instance, but I've watching this, and because I've seen Blazing Saddles so many times,
oh yeah,
the second time felt like I was watching the ghosts of better written characters kind of float by and go,
"There's no turning back now."
This is a very standard movie trope with the rich nephew or son shooting up the saloon, goes to jail, and the sheriff and the mayor have to battle about it. I mean, it's a very generic plot that they've just sort of hung these jokes and gags on, which is what you should do in a satire. You shouldn't be reinventing the wheel. No, you shouldn't. I mean, you've picked this for a reason. You've picked this topic and these kind of characters, and you're basing it off a movie that's already been done that was very well received. It's tricky though because television is not the movies. Like, you go to the movies to see Blazing Saddles, but you don't have to, and your TV is in your house. It's self-contained, and it's really, I think, a real balancing act because there's probably going to be a lot of people that, if they saw this, probably didn't see that movie and have nowhere to go except from this is your first viewing of this subject. Like, are they just saying the N-word now on TV?
Well, I'll be horsewhipped. And sheriff.
Good Lord.
Exactly. That blew me right out of my seat the first time, and I'm like, whoa, man, I know this was
the mid 70s and you could get away with this sort of thing, but it's kind of in your face from the
Absolutely.
from the
It really
get-go.
is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There is a fake story floating around. I found it being repeated on articles as new as like last year.
Oh yeah.
Allegedly, Mel Brooks' lawyer, this is the story, inserted a clause in the original contract stating that if Warner Brothers didn't create something within 6 months of the movie's release, they would lose the rights.
Mhm.
So to maintain the rights, Warner Brothers hastily produced this pilot along with at least 2 other episodes. And then when they approached Mel Brooks for a Blazing Saddles sequel, he declined. They showed him this pilot as evidence that they retained the rights. So this story is completely untrue.
Really?
The origin of it is even more amazing because it comes from 2015 posts from Ormsby. Ormsby is some kind of a dragon puppet who does horror hosts kind of stuff, and he's been inactive for at least 7 years. So anyway, in 2015, Ormsby posted this story about Blazing Saddles on his Facebook page as a comedy piece, and people believed it without question, and it was eventually copied and pasted into Wikipedia. The God's honest truth, and it continues to circle the internet to this day.
Huh.
One of the many great things about Wikipedia that it's
Yeah.
accessible by all and you can just stick whatever you want in it.
Yes.
Ah.
It reminded me of the Street Sharks controversy that we talked about.
Oh yeah.
When Andrew tried to tell us that Street Sharks was a Mandela effect.
Didn't exist. Yeah.
And it turns out that was the same deal. There was a guy who had made up a bunch of Street Sharks episodes and posted them on a Street Sharks wiki, and that got copied all over the internet as fact.
I love when people back around with other people like this, like the famous Phil Collins. He watched a guy drown, and you hear these things get debunked like
Oh,
fairly
my God.
quickly when they happen, but yet there's always somebody that'll go, no, man, he killed that guy. I didn't hear you just watched him drown. He killed that guy. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever, dude. I'm just going to keep rolling with this story, huh? All right, that's good.
My only issue is I'm not sure this is comedy, because at no point is he wink or nod at the fact that this is like a made-up story. He just made up something that sounds completely legitimate and then just lied, basically.
Yeah, I totally
Like,
agree.
is that comedy?
No,
Like-
no, because you're not waiting for a reaction. You're not putting it out there like on your
You're
YouTube
just
channel
fucking
to
with
get
people.
you're just dicking with people hard, and that's it. You're doing it because you want to, and maybe somebody will see it down the line. So that's not comedy. That's just being weird
It's
a little
just
bit.
ruining history.
Yeah, it is.
And we're here to bust these myths.
God knows you should get all of your historical facts from a dragon sock puppet. I mean, that's
Yeah.
exactly who you want to go to.
Yeah, that guy does my taxes too.
Oh,
Ormsby?
Yeah.
Dingbat, no. Make sure the ladyfingers stay on the hand until just before they're served. That way they stay fresh.
This pilot was on TV. It aired April 4th, 1975, and we do have a contemporary review.
this looks great. This is from the Tampa Bay Tribune by Kathleen O'Brien, tribute staff writer. And it goes, Men Black Bart is shown tonight at 8 on Channel 13 CBS TV. The most it can hope for from an audience is a few smiles. It probably won't get a single laugh. For the jokes in the half-hour comedy special, touted as a screamingly funny takeoff of Mel Brooks's Blazing Saddles, are so old that the only funny thing about them is that anyone is fool enough to try using them again. Wow, Kathleen's brutal. Is the old "you called me the N-word, but now I call you honky" comedy. Story of the first black sheriff in the Old West, through to the current trend of white guilt.
Wow.
Wow, white guilt went back that far? I didn't even know that. They think this is new. Somebody needs to tell them. The black sheriff, played by Lou Gossett, is intelligent, unhung up, and witty. And all the white men in sight are narrow, bigoted, and coarse.
Just like every other TV show.
Sure, it's the Archie Bunker syndrome.
Our world is coming crumbling down. The are coming.
In this program, only the minorities are allowed any sensitivity. There is a sweet saloon mother with a heart-shaped patch over one eye. Sweet saloon mother? Did you really watch the show?
No.
An alcoholic deputy who never recovered from his wife's desertion. And a dour little Indian who hates all white men, including the black ones. All right, that's kind of funny. Scriptwriters did come up with one or two amusing variations on honky, but after hearing Gossett call the mayor milkface and pink nose once or twice, the joke has gone as far as it can go.
Oh, hurt her feeling.
I guess so. Even the one part of the show that has some substance is buried under the racial antagonism. When the sheriff dares to arrest the mayor's nephew for using his gun to make men dance, he finds himself up against a stone wall. It's almost impossible to get justice in a town that is owned, literally, by the defendant. But instead of making it a general observation, or to use that threadbare phrase in social comment, Black Bart turns it into another refrain of the N-word honky song. Even this trendy short-sightedness is not the program's worst shortcoming. The real problem is that all the jokes, racial or otherwise, come about 10 seconds too late. Sheriff, surrounded by 10 armed enemies, requests that they give themselves up. In response, they open derisive fire. When the smoke clears, the sheriff grins and says, "They didn't buy it," but the poor audience has been anticipating that predictable line since long before the gunfire started. And by the time Gossett gets around to saying it, they're hoping against hope that he won't. There are rumors that this is a pilot for a new series. If so, one can only hope that the pilot will crash. Oh, come on, baby. You think their jokes are bad? That's awful. It is awful. It will crash, for all that ground has been covered before. It is undoubtedly time that blacks had a new television image. Shows like Sanford and Son, Good Times, That's My Mama, and The Jeffersons, while not perfect, indicate that audiences of all races are ready for that. But a show like The Black Bart, remember it being the definitive article Black Bart, but okay, would be a giant step backwards, for it is a bore, and no one wants the image of a bore. That's Kathleen's take on things.
I think this is pretty hard.
Yeah.
It is not any worse at the end of the day than a lot of other shows that made it to air.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's main problem is that you've got something to compare it to. You're not comparing it to other shows of the time or other pilots. You're going up against Blazing Saddles and telling it this is the genesis that this came from. So like Son of Blazing Saddles, it's not. Show's not a sequel to Blazing Saddles. It's not a TV version of the same story. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
So
Scaled way back.
you're already putting the people that have watched the movie, like me, when I watched it the first time, I'm like, oh, you didn't get this at all. Not at all. What was funny about this movie, in kind of a hole to where we would have had to watch it a bunch of times, or it would have had to go on to air and have the first season drag of like, all right, maybe it gets better and it's doing its own thing. But it's coming uphill right out of the gate, and that's not good.
Yeah, I read that the writers watched Blazing Saddles like one time and then they wrote this script.
Really? That's not that surprising.
But it was also the guy that wrote The Jerk.
Oh.
He hates these cans! Stay away from the cans!
Michael Elias and Frank Shaw are the writers. Michael Elias wrote The Jerk. Frank Shaw wrote Coed Fever, The Frisco Kid, and Love American Style.
I've seen The Jerk a million times. I love that movie. But you can do so much more in a self-contained movie, and it's not the same for television. Television's a completely different beast. I think in this case, this pilot is half dumbed down from Blazing Saddles with its TV-ness. Some of it is trying to be exactly Blazing Saddles with the racial stuff and the things that Lou Gossett says, and that's clanky on television.
It's a little more straight comedy. There isn't as many gags like Mel Brooks would have. And I mean, I would love it to be more off the wall, but if they're trying to compete for primetime television, maybe they just didn't think that would fly with audiences, just like the Naked Gun series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, Stu, when you missed like a Police Squad when it came on.
Yes.
It flopped on television.
Yeah.
It worked in the movies.
But the writers also were thankful because it was exhausting coming up with all those gags and setting it all up. And they'd pretty much run the well dry after 8 episodes.
And especially on television, you have to figure out what you're going to do. Like you said, this pilot has really no crazy gags, no fake toll booths, and no showing up at the movie premiere and the kind of stuff that Blazing Saddles did, because it's a farce from the get-go and you're on board or you're not. This one is a lot more just straight comedy, but it's doing that by taking half of what made Blazing Saddles great. You've also halved what the appeal of it was for the people that are watching it. So it just keeps kind of piling on. And if this had been its own thing and not connected to it, I think it would have been a lot better for the show. But it is what it is, and it's there for a reason. So
This is from the Highly Suspects trivia section on IMDb. Originally, the pilot teleplay was titled Super Dude.
odd.
Amazing. And they went with Black Bart.
Bizarre.
Why would they have ever called it Super Dude in the first place? You'd think that was a freaking Superman takeoff.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they already did
It's
that.
some producer.
And they called it Blank Man.
I have to make the world a safer place for my children.
You got to be with the woman first!
Stephen Wayans.
Please, call me Blank Man.
Blank Man.
Oh, God. Yes. Blank Man is an absolute gem. Anyone that hasn't seen Blank Man, go watch it right
Now.
So, okay, which one's better, Blank Man or Meteor Man?
No, I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah.
Meteor Man is
Yeah,
bad.
Meteor Man's terrible.
It's so
Meteor
bad.
Man is not great.
Luther Vandross, Sinbad, Naughty by Nature, Cypress Hill, and Big Daddy Kane. Robert Townsend is Meteor Man.
Blank Man has Meteor Man's lunch.
Yeah. Good gravy. Meteor Man. Come the hell on.
Blank Man kicks the can full of meteor right down the street.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, the power to rub a book and then have all of its knowledge inside of you.
It would never work.
Yeah.
So all you would do is run straight to out and buy a bunch of porno and just start running your hands through it. Come on.
And he has like a little belt buckle that's Altoids tin.
Yeah.
And he's like calling his brother at work. Somebody walks in and it looks like his brother's talking to his crotch.
No, I'm busy.
Closer, Roger.
Look, this is as close as I can talk, man, okay? I would love to play with you, but now is not the time. I got work to do. So maybe when I finish my work, we'll go in the bathroom and I'll play with you then, make sure everything's working. And
I thought about it, and I just changed my mind.
Very classic.
It's a great. This is a great movie.
Slap me around and call me Susan.
We're just going to talk about Blank Man all night.
Oh, we can definitely talk about Blank Man all night.
Well, this pilot was featured on the 2007 30th anniversary special edition of the Blazing Saddles DVD, and it was also on the 40th edition Blu-ray. So I imagine anyone that bought that DVD or Blu-ray has watched this pilot at some point.
I will tell you, one of them hasn't, and it was me because I had no idea it was on
Yeah.
there, and I own that.
Really?
Same here.
I mean, I don't really look at all the extras on DVDs in the first place. Oh, of course, I read the thing. And I know I glazed right over this and went, huh? And just kept on going, and I've never got into it. So I've owned this thing for years and never watched it.
Wow, okay. Well, I guess this is a public service announcement. If you own the 2007 30th anniversary special edition Blazing Saddles DVD or the 2014 40th anniversary Blazing Saddles Blu-ray, you also own this pilot. But my point is, it's by no means it's obscure. It's actually had an official release, and I'm pretty sure that the YouTube video that we watched was ripped off of the DVD.
Oh, for sure.
It's not taped off TV like we normally get. It's really high quality, and it has the Warner Brothers production logo at the end.
Yeah, it's all clean crossfades. There's no jerky commercial cuts. It's definitely the master.
This was also broadcast on 2003 on Trio, and there is a version of the Trio broadcast up on YouTube as well. This was during the Brilliant but Canceled marathon.
9 out of 10 things on television failed.
Brilliant but canceled. All next week, only on Trio.
Which is the same marathon that gave us Look Well.
Oh.
All hail Adam West.
All hail West.
However, the version we all watched was uploaded by user Rage to Me, and they have a very interesting account. A lot of very random uploads, including the first season of Moonlighting, the few episodes of The Weird Al Show.
Well, the very next year, we met a dental hygienist with a spatula tattooed on her arm.
The first season of Barney Miller's, and the Barney Miller spin-off show, Fish.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I have some of those.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of episodes of the Filmation Ghostbusters.
I was one of the kids that was confused by that cartoon hard. Very
Really?
hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was still watching cartoons. I was a little older when the real Ghostbusters, but I knew it was on, you know, I was catching the end of it. And then the other one popped up, and I'm like, this is some weird cross-promotion we've got going on here. What the hell is this?
It's so cool. Okay, so the live-action Filmation is terrible. It's like almost unwatchable, but the animated Filmation Ghostbusters that they made to hold the copyright for the word Ghostbusters, it's so awesome.
That's pretty great.
Very, very psychedelic. They haven't uploaded anything in 2 years. So Rage to Me, if you're out there, send us an email. Let us know you're okay. And your account is awesome.
We need more people like Rage to Me keeping these things alive.
Yeah, 100%.
Doing the God's work. The video was uploaded September 5th, 2020, and has 6,786 views, which is roughly 3,500 views a year, which puts this at number 12
Nice.
on our most watched list between Tattertown and Puchinsky. Yeah. But I'm sure if people are watching it, they're watching it on their DVD.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they're definitely lining up to watch that.
Yeah, and I gotta believe all of us who are into that kind of stuff, it's fun to hunt. And I stumbled across it on YouTube purely by accident. I think my algorithm had gotten so backed up with the weird shit I was watching that it finally was like, maybe he'll like this. I was like, oh, tell me more, internet. Especially when it's got Lou Gossett Jr. in it. Sign me up.
Yeah.
I'm desperately trying to find episodes of Gideon Oliver that I could add to my collection.
This week on the Monday Mystery Movie.
Those people thrive on fear and darkness.
They're gonna kill one of my babies.
It gets dark, we've had it.
An evil only one mind can master. Academy Award winner Louis Gossett Jr. is Gideon Oliver. Monday.
Pumpkin Spice Podcast is back to talk about some of the spookiest movies out there. But this time, they aren't covering franchises, they're taking bus tickets to new cities to explore the horror happening all over the globe. So tune in to Pumpkin Spice Podcast, a bridge burner podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out now. It's Pumpkin Spice Podcast.
The episode of Star Trek, A Fistful of Datas, has the same plot.
Data's memory malfunction turns a Wild West fantasy into a real live shootout.
I'm going to assume that both of you can quote that episode line for line.
Not line for line, but I love where they finally gave Worf a good episode. I mean, it perfectly fits him because he's such a tight ass.
Not only that, but it's like the only episode where he's actually seen being a good father.
Yeah, one of the few where he's like, he takes his kid out to play, and you know, he tucks him in and says, yeah, we'll go back and everything. I had a dad that was older than me too, so it's like he drove trucks, and it's like, you know, it'd almost be like if he sat down and like, oh, okay, let's drive trucks together. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So you got Worf being like, oh, I'll play cowboy. I don't want to play cowboy. You get to shoot people. Oh, sign me up.
At the beginning, he's like, that guy's a villain. Go and arrest him. And he just walks in and smacks him across the face.
That's the bad guy. He's killed 23 men. He's the meanest and the toughest gunslinger in the West. You have to watch him. He's fast.
So I am here to apprehend him.
If you can.
You are under arrest.
Is that so?
You will come with me.
No, no, no. Computer, freeze program.
What is wrong?
That was too easy. It has to be harder to beat the bad guys. Otherwise, it's no fun.
What's the problem? I'm done.
Exactly. All the things we say in movies were like, you know, boom, you got it. Why don't you just shoot him now? Shoot him now. The movie's over. Worf does it, and we're like, what the hell, Worf? You got 34 minutes left in this thing. And he has that look on his face, like I'm sure most parents get when they make the mistake of going, so how do you play this video game? Nah. You don't get it at all, Pop.
It's a really good episode. I really love when the Enterprise goes off into the sunset at the very end. It's such a nice touch.
It's nice.
First thing that happens, we get the very good logo and theme song.
Agreed.
The theme song, it's very stereotypical 70s theme song with the big muted bass section and then a jazz drummer and a bassist. and then they throw in a little fiddle and a little mouth harp to make it feel westerny. It's very good. Just a very standard TV theme song, but it's awesome. Maybe one of my top theme songs that we've heard on this show.
Yeah.
Wow, that's high praise. I liked it too. I thought it was great. It was very catchy.
It'll never be as catchy as the Blazing Saddles theme, though, which is just in my head at all times.
I guess it's just unfair to
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's an unfair comparison. But for a pilot, it's not just your standard do-wop-a-do-wop-a-do-wop-a-do. So
These two guys, they know each other and they live in an apartment downtown.
And they're in the Wild West and they're both sheriffs and they're having a good time. Now come on in, it's Black Bart.
I like the logo is the westerny font. I believe that font is called Hoedown.
I believe it. I like that they put the reverse drop shadow on it so it kind of looks like a branding iron.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's almost like teeth.
I'm coming to tear up your television viewing, son.
So the whole opening sequence is also pretty cool. It's just a guy tearing ass in a stagecoach through the desert with a team of 6 horses. They make a point of showing how the brake works.
Just a lead up to what's about to come next.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, when he gets to town, the wheels fall off and all these people are just dumped in the dirt.
Paris, everybody out.
This is a hell of a stunt.
It goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, we never meet these people. One of them is a really angry Spanish woman.
Manejas como un desgraciado borracho. Eres un burro con la mente de una gallina loca.
Who's yelling, and that's it. They just go away. So it's completely pointless.
I think this was one of their few attempts at a gag.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's kind of wacky, but you're right. It doesn't really land on anything. Nobody rolls out with their suitcase in hand and flips right up in front of Bart or anything like that.
It just falls flat on the ground.
I think what's missing is the guy driving the stagecoach is like, all right, we're pulling out. And then everybody climbs in the busted stage and it drags it off with no wheels and shit like that.
This show actually was one of the last shows to be shot on the Warner Brothers Western lot.
Huh.
Before I guess they tore it down, or
they probably redeveloped it for some other sets, probably crime shows and stuff like that, because westerns were on an ice back in those days.
Hey boy, tell the sheriff I want to see him. Oh yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
Pretty much immediately we meet our hero Black Bart, played by the one and only Louis Gossett Jr. Very well known and respected actor. He's 86 years old. He's had 196 roles. To his credit, he has 13 more in pre-production right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the man, he's still working.
He's a machine. God, I hope one of those is Iron Eagle 5.
Oh my God. I hope it's Enemy Mine 2.
I've heard all this before in the human tongue.
Of course you have. Truth is truth. But what you have not yet learned is the way we Dracs express the truth. Words of Shisma must be sung.
Digstown 2 would make me so happy.
You are black.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to inspire you. It's a roots kind of thing.
I think he does a great job here in place of Cleavon Little. I'm not sure why they didn't just get Cleavon Little. He was in the middle of doing a show called Temperature Rising where he was playing a doctor. It was a hospital drama. So maybe that's why. But then again, Cleavon Little wasn't even originally supposed to play Black Bart in Blazing Saddles.
Really?
According to Wikipedia, The God's Honest Truth, the original Blazing Saddles, Black Bart was to be played by James Earl Jones with Alan Arkin as the director.
Huh.
And then when Mel Brooks took over the project, he hired Richard Pryor as a writer. And then they wrote the script with Richard Pryor in mind as the lead, which would have been incredible. but the studio refused to finance with Richard Pryor because of his history with drugs. And that's how we got Cleavon Little.
Stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Sure. Cleavon Little is an amazing actor.
It's true.
I've seen him in so many things over the years, and he has such a level of just chill and cool about him.
Yeah.
Like, even when he plays the wackiest stuff, it just comes out of him so great. You love him. It's one of my favorite lines.
Watch that boy shit, redneck. You talking to the sheriff of Rock Ridge.
He floats in and out of that,
Uh-huh.
but you buy it both ways. He was amazing. I don't think I would have been as taken with James Earl Jones in that role. I think he would have played it too serious.
With Alan Arkin as the director.
Yeah, I'm glad they went with a younger cast. I think that made it a little more hip. They just hit lightning in a bottle on that one.
I did want to mention we do have a Cleavon Little pilot
Oh,
that
Lord.
we can get to someday that co-stars Yeardley Smith.
Oh, yeah, that one.
That takes place on a commuter train.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Tickets Please.
Wow.
So someday we'll have to do that one. The guy sees Bart sweeping and assumes he's, I guess, the sheriff's sweeping person. Like he works for the sheriff.
He's the janitor.
Yeah, he's the sheriff's office janitor. And then he just straight up starts dropping the N-word.
Oh.
Well, I'll be horsewhipped. And sheriff.
We're like not even a minute into this show.
Yeah, immediately starts off calling him boy.
It is such a hard start to the dialogue in a show.
It is wild that
Yeah.
that they were able to air this on TV.
Mister, in some towns you say you get your smile. This town you get your nose shot off.
No offense, Sheriff, but not with an old pig shooter like that.
So this guy is trying to sell him a gun. It's pretty funny. Bart tells this whole story how his pistol is part of him and his father gave it to him.
He stole it from the master.
He sees the new gun and he just immediately says,
You take trade-ins?
I guess layaway wasn't a thing yet at this point.
Then there's a commotion at the saloon.
Sheriff, Curly's toe shooting again. Yeah, Whitey.
Bart calls for his horse, Whitey, jumps on it, rides 14 feet down the street on the set to the saloon and jumps out.
A lot of times with these westerns is the horses are the most expensive part. Every horse has its own trainer and its own insurance and everything. And I think the only horse in this is Whitey.
Yeah, because when they go after the posse, they're all on foot.
Yeah,
there are no horses.
And he only rides Whitey like 10 feet.
That's it.
Yeah.
That feels very Naked Gun.
Oh yeah.
And this is when we meet Reb, who is my favorite character in this whole show.
Really?
Yeah. He's the deputy and he's a former Confederate soldier. His wife left him at some point and he tends to get drunk and ramble about her. And every time it got a laugh out of me. He's the replacement for Gene Wilder. Kind of looks like Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
He does a little bit.
A little.
But he's
bit.
a completely different character. He's not like Gene Wilder was at all.
No, and I hate to in conflict with you, Stu. He was kind of my least favorite character.
Really?
Yeah, I like Steve Landsberg. I watched him in Barney Miller, and I don't think it's him directly, but the one thing that Wilder and Little did was they struck up a real friendship and a real partnership throughout Blazing Saddles, and he might have done that down the line if this got picked up. He doesn't come across to me that way, so he's just kind of, he gets drunk and he laments his wife, which it's kind of funny, but that's kind of all he really does.
Yeah.
For most of it. They get that one scene where he spins his pistols, and that's the Waco Kid callback. He doesn't really do anything with it, so he was just kind of there, and I was going, we're not going to really kind of get a Waco Kid, are we? And we didn't, so.
Yeah, he twirls his,
not my favorite.
He twirls his gun, and he shoots a match that Moonwolf, the Native American, is lighting.
Because that's how lead works.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bart says,
I don't know how you guys lost the war.
That was a great line.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
As a Southerner, the idiot, drunken rebel soldier just gets me every time.
Yeah, Curly says he's gonna kill you. He even took a shot at me.
Reb,
Now, what were you doing in that saloon?
I was just having a steak sandwich.
Oh, I was just having a steak sandwich.
Very stupid. Delightfully stupid.
There's a guy doing the classic shoot the guy's feet and tell him to dance, like in Back to the Future 3.
Nobody calls me Mad Dog, especially not some duded up, egg-sucking gutter trash.
This is Curly, played by none other than Garrett Graham, who's a really cool actor. Just the year before this, he appeared as Beef in Phantom of the Paradise.
Man, you better get yourself a castrato for this, because it's a little out of my range.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Bill, have you seen that? Are you a fan?
I don't think I know this.
So it's Brian De Palma's rock opera that is off the fucking wall.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild.
It's so fantastic. So it stars Paul Williams, the guy who wrote Songs About Rainbows or whatever. The fucking Muppet song. But it's a deranged movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Phantom of the Opera. No.
Jeez.
Yeah, mixed with Rocky Horror.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Yeah, with Rocky Horror, but actually fun. I mean, Rocky Horror is kind of...
It's a little played.
Whatever to me at this point. When I was 17, I loved it, though.
Yeah.
So I know Garrett Graham from one of my favorite things he did is he's Jeff in Used Cars with Kurt Russell and Jack Warden.
Mm-hmm.
He is such a great character in that show. And he's just trying to convince everybody that the car he's driving is not red, so he'll actually be able to survive driving it. It's great.
No. It's a red car.
I did want to talk about the episode of Voyager that he's in, where he plays a Q who wants to commit suicide because he's bored with being omnipotent.
When life has become futile, meaningless, unendurable, it must be allowed to end. Can't you see, Captain? For us, the disease is immortality.
Which is really fun. And they actually go to the Q continuum in that episode, and it's a gas station on a country road, which is just, I mean, I don't know. It's probably as good as Voyager ever got.
This was your existence before your confinement.
I traveled the road many times, sat on the porch, played the games, been the dog, everything. I was even the scarecrow for a while.
Why?
Because I hadn't done it.
Oh, we've all done the scarecrow. Big deal.
Yeah, I that was a huge letdown. Just to look at a Sunoco ad in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, great, this doesn't look like every other dirt road in Kansas. This is wonderful.
There's nothing left to say.
And he's also the dad on The Critic.
As the first black female head of the Ku Klux Klan, I'd like to say America stinks.
Yes, Franklin Sherman. Take that, Gwenica.
I guess we'll just have to sprinkle in Franklin Sherman clips all the way through this whole show.
Yeah, we should.
I didn't ask to be Secretary of Balloon Doggies. The Balloon Doggies demanded it. Isn't that right, Balloon Doggie? No, shut up.
Bart and Curly end up pointing guns at each other, but the mayor shows up.
I'll take care of this. Drinks for the house. For those who lost a toe, doubles.
We also get a hint of him being infatuated with the saloon owner, Belle.
Oh, that's not Sunshine. That's Miss Belle. Well. Did you get my note? After closing, I want you to put on your prettiest dress and join me at my place. And we'll have champagne, caviar, tacos.
I'll let you know later, Schweinhund.
She is 100% their attempt to create a Lily Von Stupp for this show.
Yeah.
You're finished. Fertig. Verfallen. Verlammt. Verblunget. Verkackt. Verfahren. Auf England.
If it wasn't about Bart, I kind of want it to be about her because she blew me right out of the water.
Yeah, it should just be called Belle's Saloon.
It is amazing. And she's alluded to with her limp and her eye patch. I kept thinking of Anne Marie Johnson in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka.
Oh my God.
When she's back in the hotel and like just start pulling her stuff contacts, her legs and her arms apart.
I am glad to get these off.
So Belle's kind of amazing.
But despite this, Bart has Reb arrest Curly.
All right, Reb. Lock him up. Hey, my uncle took care of this. Something wrong with your ears? Reb, on the way to the jail, stop at the dock and have him fix Curly's nose. Nothing wrong with my nose.
Is that a word we can say?
No.
Okay, well, I'll beep it.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I thought a spook was like an undercover agent.
It is.
It's a slur for black people as well.
It is also
which I
that.
think-
You're not wrong,
Yeah.
Stu.
This is like an old timey word.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah. Bart goes right to the mayor and asks him for a raise.
I want to talk about a raise.
You as uppity as ever. You already the highest paid black sheriff in the West. Why don't you just get on back to work? You do work, don't you?
Oh, yeah, though, Martha. Yeah, though. Bit lonely. Why, I done swept out the jailhouse, Paul, and after that, I threw your nephew Curly in jail.
Jail?
Uh-huh.
Why didn't you tell me about that to start with?
Truth is, Pink Nose, I didn't want to spoil my chances for the raise.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. He's an operator. He floats in and out of that voice. When you watch Blazing Saddles, it feels more like when Cleavon Little did it, went from situation to situation. And Lou, he floats in and out on a dime, which one he goes to and back. Almost like he's trying to confuse everybody on screen with like, is this guy smart or is he dumb? I can't tell sometimes. But Noble Winningham is the mayor.
Yes.
And we know him from a million things. Of course, he's from Walker, Texas Ranger.
There's nothing remarkable about you, punk.
That's where most people will remember him from. Thus, Trek nerds will remember him as Texas from the Royale episode.
Take this creature, for example. He does not exhibit any DNA structure.
Look who's talking. And you sound just like my ex-wife.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you're right.
Yep, puts his hat on Data, teaches him all, plays blackjack with him, and he's smooth in this episode. And my wife's like, he feels kind of like the Boss Hogg type of guy, like in small town, kind of got the run of things and his stature, and the way he even looks. And I'm like,
yep,
yeah, you're kind of right. I think maybe. And then when I looked it up, turns out Sorrel Book was one of the people who was in line to play this part. So he would have, if he'd played this before.
Oh my God!
Dukes of Hazzard, it probably would have not get him that part. You know how TV works, so it was kind of amazing that they were pre-projecting Boss Hogg without really knowing it.
Damn.
Yeah, they're totally channeling a Boss Hogg. And the thing, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Dukes of Hazzard, because I totally went through a Dukes of Hazzard phase when I was younger.
Yeah, I think everybody does at one point.
It's a very fascinating show because it just, on every level, doesn't make any sense. Because it's like, all of them are cousins. Like, how big is this family? But then also Boss Hogg, what is his function in this town? He's just a rich guy who controls the police.
Yeah.
He is a low villain, and I will tell you, you asked the question. Dukes of Hazzard is the fundamental block of my life and existence. That's the show I grew up on, and when we are done with this, I will post a picture of me with my General Lee replica.
What?
For you.
What?
I don't have it anymore. I had it for 18 years.
Whoa.
But I lived and breathed that show, and
that is fucking awesome.
I will go on the record now for anybody that feels that show is any way problematic. And just like this show, you get looking back and you see the things then that you might take issue with, but if there's one underlying element, those boys taught me to stand up for what was right, always treat people well. A stranger's just a friend you haven't met, and always do the right thing, whether it's against the system or not. So
yeah.
And I love that show. I love it dearly.
Yeah, I think that it gets written off because of its window dressing, but overall, I think it's a good show.
Yeah, I mean
it's good values.
It is. I mean, of course, it's of its time, and it was written by a bunch of guys in New York who mostly were Jewish on the staff, trying to write a Southern television show with some actors who hadn't had. But you go back, and I'll tell you, it might not be executed the best. It's not Shakespeare.
No.
But there is diversity in this show, and no matter what color anybody is or what race they are, the Dukes treat them like people. And I took that with me for the rest of my life.
And there's a character named Cooter.
Fighting the system like a true modern-day Robin Hood.
Back at the jail, Bart tells Reb that they are going to have a real trial for Curly.
A trial? Mm-hmm. Boy, ain't you something. I didn't think you had it in you. Remember what I said the day you showed up here?
Uh-huh. Why, if he thinks I'm gonna take any orders from a flat-nosed, pink-eyed, nappy-headed just because he's wearing a tin badge, well, he got another thing coming.
And you remember what you said to me after that?
I didn't say anything, Reb. I just took my pistol and smacked you upside the head with it.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember. That's when I started to respect and fear you.
God damn it, that line gets me pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I remember to respect and fear you.
Took it down to the fundamentals. You can't fault him for that. It is a great exchange.
I was racist, but now I respect and fear you, which is still kind of racist.
He got him to toe the line one way or the other.
Yeah.
Bart walks across the street to the general store to telegraph for a judge, and he hears a commotion inside, and he enters to find the store clerk holding up a child. And the store clerk had a really great accent.
You stand back, Sheriff. I don't want you to get splattered. Put the gun away. Now, what did you take this time, Huey?
2 yawbreakers. I'd like to plug him, the little bandit.
Yawbreaker, yeah.
A yawbreaker.
He stole a yawbreaker.
It's like if the Swedish chef went west.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take out a penny for the jawbreakers, 2 cents for the cream puff, and a nickel for a telegram.
What telegram?
I'm sending for a judge.
Fooey on your judge. I say hang the little crook. You hang them when they're young. They won't be crooks when they grow up.
I fucking loved that line so much when I heard it. I just came like, oh, this character instantly redeemed himself for pointing a gun at a kid.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. A little kid. I don't know what his direction was, but he's got somewhere between like, huh? And sort of scared while he stayed there with his little pudgy arms in the air.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything. He just stands there.
And he's clearly a habitual criminal because Bart tells him, what did I tell you about this?
Yes.
I think it would have been fun to see this kid like in the background for the rest of the show, just stealing stuff from everybody. He's the true villain of the episode.
Oh my lord.
It's almost like Green Acres, where you've got Oliver, who is kind of the straight man, and then the whole town is wacky. And that's what they're going for here, where you've got the sheriff who's really just trying to do his job. Just basic law and order. We've got a criminal, we need a judge. I just want to do what's right. And everybody's so insane that it's almost not even worth it.
Or it's got this air about him that's he's almost like exasperated through the whole episode with everybody's dumb fuckery.
Yeah, and whereas like in Green Acres, they're all surrealist Dada weirdos. Everybody here is just absurdly racist.
People don't believe me, but Green Acres is one of the most surreal television programs ever created.
Yeah, it's like watching On Delusion Dog, the sitcom. In the time that it took him to walk across the street to the general store and back, the mayor showed up with a jug and got Reb completely wasted at the jail. And he's like passed out on his desk. And when Bart wakes him up, he starts rambling about how his wife left him.
Reb, what happened?
I come home and all the closets were empty. And nobody on the plantation would tell me where my wife went, except the Massa, Missy Kate done run off with your best friend. Why did they tell me when no one else would?
He's kind of locked into his broken heart pretty hard.
Yeah, he's a very broken man. So Bart goes to the saloon to try and put together a posse to go after Curly and the mayor, and the men just laugh at him. So Bart is forced to set off into the woods with only Moonwolf, the local Native American, who I think is blind.
Huh?
Did you guys get this?
Huh?
Oh.
I got kind of a feeling that he was kind of looking past Bart, and there's this whole exchange where Moonwolf doesn't know that Bart is black. And when he's like,
You not white man?
No, fool, I'm a black man.
That's right, you black, white man.
No. Listen, I'm a black man. You're a red man. And Curly and his men are white men.
In that case, you, my brother, we stop, make fire, have brotherhood ceremony.
Oh, no, we don't have any time. Now we got to find Curly and his gang.
but I don't know. I got the idea that he might be blind.
I didn't think he was blind, but that would explain a little more. I just thought he was written really weird. He's almost like a stoner, except they've taken the stereotypical Indian character and they've made him half-baked in some way. He came off as a little odd with his remarks to me.
It reminds me of the Indians in F Troop.
Oh.
They were kind of like hippies. One of them was named Crazy Cat, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it's very similar.
I watched that show in a really long time.
I haven't thought about it since the last time we talked about it on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, he's got some good lines, but his remarks about
all white men's horse slob. Make mess on trail. Keep going. Indian horse. Dig hole. Bury it.
It's fairly smart written. There's something about his delivery that I'm just like, huh?
He's very flat.
He's very flat. Maybe that's it. And maybe it's good. Like, he doesn't have a lot of the standard, you sheriff, me Indian type of stuff going on, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is zero help in every situation.
Yes. Well, they're trying to figure this all out. Curly and his posse start shooting at them. So Bart returns fire, and the Curly crew starts running until Curly yells out,
Hey, what are we doing? There's 10 of us, and there's only 2 of them.
I was wondering when the dude was gonna figure that out.
and then they all just start shooting at each other again. Bart says,
Drop your guns and tie each other up.
which was like, okay, but they don't buy that. And Moonwolf and Bart end up tied to the ground. That's like an Old West trope too.
Yeah, or staked to an anthill type of thing.
Then the mayor shows up to ridicule them.
You're not showing much political savvy, Sheriff. Curly here. He's for shooting you right now.
Hold it right, sir, Curly.
But then Belle shows up with a bunch of stock footage Apaches far away on a mountain.
The vaunted stock footage tribe of the plains. Yes.
Well, how did you pull that off?
Well, sweetie, let's just say I owe one tribe the best time of its life.
She owes the entire tribe a good time.
I thought this was amazing. I love Belle. I just do. She cuts right to it and she's like, I know how to get this deal done. And she does it. And she doesn't even look back. She's just writing, everybody's writing her IOUs the whole way. It's great.
Yeah, she's pretty kick-ass. Well, with that, it's time to play a game.
Oh, shit.
Triple H. I'm to play the game.
As we all know, the story of Blazing Saddles is a heartwarming tale of friendship between a black sheriff and a white drunkard.
What the poster says.
That should be what the poster says if it doesn't. So what I have for you, I've got 8 audio clips. And what you'll have to do is tell me what movie featuring a black cop, white cop team up or some sort of cop team up,
Gotcha.
Yeah, racial opposites teaming up in the movie.
It's the racial opposite buddy cop game.
It's the racial opposite buddy cop game.
Gotcha. The Ebony and Ivory board game.
That's right. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Ebony, Ivory,
fighting crime
together in perfect harmony. All right, clip 1.
May I offer you something to drink? Wine, a cocktail, espresso?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
I'll make it myself right back there with a little lemon twist. It's good. You should try it.
No, I'm fine.
I see you look at this piece.
Yeah, I was wondering how much
All
something
right,
like
Stuart.
this went for.
Go ahead, Stuart.
This is Beverly Hills Cop.
Correct. All right. Stuart on the board with 1.
Great Axel Foley and Serge.
Yeah. Serge.
Yes.
Serge.
You get to ring in any time. Is that how that worked?
Yeah.
I guess you can ring in any time. I didn't know Stuart was going to do that.
Well, I'm slippery.
I'm going to give you both. I'm going to give you both a point.
Guess so. You devil.
He's slippery like that. Oh, Stu, you devil. All right. Question the second.
I'm going undercover. Doubtful. Yes, I'm doubtful. I already made my decision. Hello? The president is black now. We make decisions.
There's a right way of doing police work. Then there's a way you two
That's
do it.
Tracy Jordan. Is that Cop Out?
It is Cop Out. Holy shit, Bill. I cannot believe that you got that. I've never seen that movie, but the trailer made me kind of want to watch it just because I love Tracy Morgan.
And it's like I'm familiar with that trailer too, which is very odd.
Yeah, I have I haven't watched it either. I have it on my on my computer to watch. I've just not done it.
Wow. Very impressive.
You can't miss Tracy Jordan's voice, so I remember the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, wow. All right. Question number 3.
Uncle, you better come look at this.
What?
There's a white man standing in the street.
I seen one.
Not like this.
Dial 911.
Oh, that's Die Hard with a Vengeance.
You got it.
Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis.
Drop it, asshole! Roger.
Diplomatic community.
Lethal Weapon 2.
That's right.
Annie Glover. Oh, Gibson. It's just been revoked.
It's the fucking greatest goddamn line in any of those movies. It's so silly.
It's amazing. Murtaugh. I am all that has become Murtaugh. I go through my day saying shit like, I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
All the time.
I was trying to find, like, when I was looking for clips from Lethal Weapon 2, just watching all these clips, and when they first bust into, the super futuristic mid-century modern house, and they're like hassling the guys, and Riggs is like rifling through the guy's passport. He's like, what's your name? Adolf? I'll just call you Adolf.
Those are great movies.
Oh my God.
I made a GIF of him saying diplomatic immunity with no idea when I would ever use it. I just wanted it.
Oh, you can use it anytime.
I know.
I need it for work, for my Slack. All right. Question number 5. Clip number 5. Question. What am I in?
All right, listen up. I don't like white people. I hate rednecks. You people are rednecks. That means I'm enjoying this shit.
48 hours.
Yep. Oh my God, I cannot believe that you got that so quickly.
Nolte and Eddie Murphy. Oh, I've seen these movies, boys. Finally hit me. You're finally in a play patch I know what to do with.
I know.
I grew up on the original HBO. This stuff played on a loop.
Oh yeah. I think I need to watch 48 Hours tonight.
Hey, you know the Star Trek TNG connection from 48 Hours?
Tell us.
East Crosby's in it.
Oh.
Ooh.
One of the girlfriends.
I don't know who that is.
He's Tasha Yar.
Oh, Tasha Yar.
Uh-huh. That's your homework. Find the Yar.
Sorry, I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of Star Trek like you and Stu.
Yeah.
She's pretty easy to spot.
Spot the Yar.
I've seen her in a few other things. She's really good.
He is.
All right. Clip number 6.
Show you around, give you a taste of the business, you know? I got 38 cases pending trial, 63 in active investigation, another
Training game?
It is Training Day. You are
correct.
Training
Day. So I was wrong. I knew it was Denzel Washington. I remembered the movie, but I said Training Game, so points for that.
Oh yeah, you definitely get a point for that. All right. The next two might be a little bit more difficult. So let's go to clip number 6.
Right now, the streets are a bloodbath. And statistically speaking, there's about 30 kids in here. 10 of you are going to be dead before your next birthday. I can tell, looking around the room, half of you are dead already. The fat ones, the ones with glasses, you guys got
Super
problems.
Troopers?
You two look like hookers.
Got a couple of tips. Help you guys stay out of jail. 1, try your hardest to not be black or Hispanic.
Don't know
Good
this
tip.
one.
Yeah.
Stumped.
2.
All right, I'll give you a hint. It came out in 2010.
No, I don't think I'm going to get this one.
Pass up the gun.
Is it 21 Jump Street?
Here we go. Any tasers? No? Good. Who wants to go on a ride
Pretty
along?
close though.
22 Jump Street.
Oh shit! No. It is the 2010 Will Ferrell and Marky Mark movie, The Other Guys.
Oh God, I have seen that movie, but I only saw it once.
So it's the scene with Rob Riggle and Damon Wayans Jr. where they're doing show and tell at a kid's school, and they're passing the guns back up to them.
Wow. Okay.
I suffer from Marky Markitis. It's something I've seen my doctor about, and apparently there's no cure. He comes on, and I just sort of tune out.
No, I don't blame you at all. Don't blame you at all. All right, this is the last one. I'm just gonna play it because why not?
Give me your money.
What?
You heard me. Give me your fucking money.
Hey, man, don't shoot.
You're mugging us?
I don't believe this.
You better believe it or you're dead. Give us your money.
Oh, no.
All right, here, take this. It's full of money.
No. That's mine. Don't fuck with me, man. We want your cash.
Getting scared.
Oh my God, that is so impressive that you got that. God,
Great
Jesus
movie.
Christ.
Great movie.
Absolutely destroyed it, Bill.
I really thought I might be able to pull it out there at the end, but
well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. It's the advantages of a misspent youth in front of the television that's brought me to this pinnacle of excellence and achievement today. I'd like to thank Home Box Office, Showtime, Cinemax.
as you get to tell our audience about anything you're working on, anything you want to promote, anything at all.
Oh, that's awesome, because the thing that I'm working on that I'm actually proudest of right now is, of course, Bill and Rob's An Excellent Adventure. It is a podcast that I do with my buddy and your friend, Rob Schulte, and we do similar things to what we're doing here. We basically decided a while ago that we'd talk to each other about movies and stuff and just have a good time, and we thought, too many people dunking on stuff in the world, so let's just see if we can find the good in anything that we watch. So that is our main focus. We watch a lot of stuff. Some of it's mainstream. We're trying to get into more of a outside the box type of viewing. Some of your B, C, Z movies, is whatever comes along, and just watch them, talk about them, and hopefully get some involvement. We've just finished our 3rd series of recordings, getting ready to start our 4th, and we've just started a Patreon channel. You do some extra things behind, and most of our episodes will be there, but you can always go to our main feed, and the first 2 seasons are out there. Get a taste for what kind of stuff we do, and hopefully come on over and check us out there and support. It'd be great. We have a really great time, and we cover some really weird shit. So it's a real good time. And I'm also the social media director for the Uxbridge Shimoda podcast, The Greatest Generation and Greatest Trek, run by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica. So if you ever watch or listen to any of that stuff that they have out there and you get on the social media, odds are I'm the one that you're going to be talking to most of the time. Plus, I am enjoying when I'm ever a special guest on this show, because I love you guys. This is a great time.
We love having you.
Oh, thanks so much. We love having you.
Amazing guest.
And honestly, if you listen to this show and you don't listen to Bill and Rob's, what you doing?
Yeah, what's wrong? What's the problem?
It's so great.
Right back at you. If you're listening to us at all, make sure you stay listening to this show, because they're going to cover some stuff you have never heard of before, and that's a good thing.
Why would we talk about things other people are talking about?
Yeah.
That's easy, because the things that they're making, a lot of them today aren't worth talking about.
Yeah.
These guys back in the day were putting some effort into it, so like it or not, it's usually more entertaining than most of what you'll find on a streaming service.
We actually just recorded an episode for Bill and Rob's. Y'all had me on again to talk about Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. And I don't think we talked about something I've been feeling for the last few years, where I'll go back and watch kind of forgotten movies from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s that were sort of panned. And every time I watch them, I'm like, God, this is so much better than almost anything that you'll find on a streaming service. It feels like it was handcrafted by people, and it doesn't feel like it was workshopped to death, test audience to death, like everything that Amazon, Netflix, all of them are putting out. It feels real.
Yeah, it's a time back then that's kind of past a bit, where a director, a writer, somebody had a vision and studios would finance them and give them a shot to do what they want. And it was a singular thing, and they weren't worried about feeding the unending streaming beast. And they're not setting out to make terrible stuff. Nobody ever did, but I don't think the hearts and souls are in a lot of the stuff that they're making today. And they're certainly not putting in the common sense in it too. I have a big problem with a lot of the stuff that I watch as far as the story goes. But the older stuff, you can see the craftsmanship in a lot of these things. Even the thing we're watching now, it looks great. You know, you can't complain at all about the cinematography or the sets. They look as good as anything of the time. But you watch a fucking Asylum movie and you just get green screened to death, and everything else is CG'd within an inch of its life. So I've said it before, like, CG's a great helper to tell stories, but sometimes I think the machine lives in a world today of like, you can do anything, so why not do it? Well, why do you want to do it if it's no good for your story?
Looking for your next audio binge? Bridgeburner is an independent podcast collective with all types of shows guaranteed to bring you hours of enjoyment. Podcasts like Reenacted, an Unsolved Mysteries podcast, On Reenacted, hosts Robert and Crystal watch and discuss the classic episodes of Unsolved Mysteries. They don't take themselves or the program seriously, they're just a couple of dummies who love unsolved mysteries. Or try Piloting Error, a crash course in abandoned media. Hosts Joe and Stu and guests walk scene by scene through television pilots that were aired but never picked up for series. It's a time capsule of the bizarre. Maybe you'll enjoy Bill and Rob's An Excellent Adventure, where hosts Bill and Rob find the joy in watching a lackluster series of films like Predator or pre-MCU Marvel films. Hey, you could even check out The Bachelor Masters, a non-corporate show about the Bachelor franchise. What does the Bachelor series say about society? This podcast will let you know. If these shows sound fun, then you'll definitely enjoy Pumpkin Spice Podcast, a seasonal treat where comedy and horror movies meet all year long. But wait, there's more. Bridgeburner also has access to 2 Mike Sachs exclusives. Randy, the full and complete audio memoir of the amazing life and times of Randy S., and Passing on the Right, both hilarious pieces of audio fiction created by the award-winning writer Mike Sachs. If you have a podcast that you think would fit with the Bridgeburner Collective, reach out to any of these shows, and they'll let you know how to join. Remember, 5 stars are our favorite. We love reviews, and also share every single one of these podcasts in your group chat. It's Bridgeburner, and you can see more at bridgeburner.page.
Back at the jail, Reb is telling Bart about his favorite Savannah restaurants.
Yeah, we used to have some mighty fine restaurants in Savannah. You remember the pecan pie at the Bluebell Manor?
I never tried it.
How come?
Well, Red, back in those days, it was very hard for a slave to get a reservation.
Reb's got like 2 lanes of tunnel vision. He's got his wife leaving him tunnel vision, and then he's just kind of like, oh yeah, black. Forgot.
Yeah, and then he'll just accidentally start slipping into using the N-word and has his whip. But at that moment, there's a mob of townsfolk with torches.
Won't those honkies ever learn?
No, Sheriff. We come cause of the telegram. It says, unable preside Curly Malaga trial, appoint you, Judge, in my absence.
And I don't know why they needed to come as a torch-wielding mob.
I think it's the writers are saying this is the only way white people know to do anything in the dark.
Yeah. Show up with pitchforks
torches
and torches.
We're sitting on the couch watching, and my wife's even like, why the hell are they going like it's Frankenstein's monster? I'm like, I don't know. This is a bad decision on how to deliver a message for sure.
I mean, they're cheering for him.
Yeah.
They love him.
I think this is how they have birthday parties. Like they wait until it gets dark, and then they just use the same torches, and they all gather out in the street. Like, surprise, it's your birthday. Like, Jesus Christ. Starts firing into the crowd.
I give you a trials this town will never forget. I give you my saloon.
Which is a nice touch because then they can plausibly reuse that set. We get an establishing shot of the saloon sign now with ribbons and a sign over it that says, trial today, all you can eat.
Welcome, darlings. Defense or prosecution?
We're sitting with the mayor.
Oh, Belle, it's just beautiful. Look, dear, roses in the spittoon. Taste and dignity, that was my purpose.
Love Belle's entrepreneurship.
To have an ice sculpture of a head and shoulders, and I'm not sure who this is supposed to be. Is this supposed to be Bart? Is this supposed to be Curly?
I don't know.
Who is the ice sculpture?
It kind of looked to me like Eisenhower, which can't possibly be right.
Looks like Data.
It would have been great if that had been Mel Brooks.
Yeah? So then Bart tries to start the trial.
Curly Malaga, the people of the town of Paris accuse you of the toe shooting of Barney Horseface Kunkel, Wallace Landon, and John Porter. Now, how do you plead?
Oh, now I'm not gonna let
Not guilty. Very well. Call Barney Horseface Kunkel to the stand.
Your Honor, Horseface isn't here.
He left on the afternoon stage.
Since there is no afternoon stage.
But none of the witnesses found, except for John Porter.
That leaves John Porter. Will you take the stand?
You bet I will.
This is the guy who Curly was shooting at earlier, who was dancing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the mayor, acting as the defense attorney for Curly, reminds John Porter that he's 2 months behind on his mortgage to the bank.
Well, now tell me, Mr. Porter, how did you hurt your feet? Was it an accident?
Yes, sir. I was taking a bath and cleaning my guns at the same time. And I bent over to pick up my soap and boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Your witness.
No, I think he's your witness.
Yeah, he turns on a dime pretty fast, which, I don't know. I kind of see this coming. You know that the mayor owns everybody in the town, so.
Yeah, exactly. This got the biggest laugh out of me of the whole show. Like, so Bart thinks he has a witness the mayor can't get to. And he says, Reb, tell us what happened. And Reb stands up and he's drunk and he says,
How do I know? She just left me. Maybe I didn't tell her I love her enough. Maybe I told her too much. Okay.
It's hard to believe that that man was once the governor of Mississippi.
That was a wild line to just throw out into the middle of the room.
I know.
There's no lead up to that at all. I guess maybe the one thing about Steve Landsberg is just the way he is in his face. There's not a real difference between him just being Reb and being drunk.
Yeah.
It'd be if he held the jug, maybe that would help me see that. Oh, we're gonna get something out of this. He is amazing, just lamenting his lost wife. It's just like, oh my God.
Yes.
Due to lack of evidence, injured parties, and a whole lot of liars, this court has no choice but to find you innocent.
And I'd like to point out that the American legal system has no way to prove someone innocent. It's only not guilty within a reasonable doubt. So then everyone cheers, and Bart shoots his gun at the ceiling.
Next case, the people of the town of Paris versus Curly Malaga.
This one for Curly busting out of jail and shooting at him and tying him to the ground and stuff.
We got plenty of evidence and a whole lot of eyewitnesses. Now there's me, there's Moonwolf, and there's Bell, and a whole tribe of satisfied Indians.
So what was the body count in the Old West on the second floor of every building?
Yeah, it's been the upstairs of every saloon.
Nobody ever gives a shit about the upstairs. Never. Not once.
And that's going to be 40 days or $40.
Him making the fine the exact amount of the gun. Is that cool? Is it a cool thing he did? I'm not sure.
We get one last scene. The mayor comes by to visit Curly because presumably he chose 40 days instead of $40. And the mayor has the new gun that Bart was trying to buy. And he's like showing it off and talking about how he got a good deal on it and everything. And then Reb runs in and says,
Come quick, they're robbing the mayor's bank.
Well, don't just stand there.
I couldn't go up against any bank robbers with this old thing.
Then here's mine.
Thank you, Mayor, but I couldn't borrow another man's gun. Why, the master back on the plantation?
I'll trade you even. Just save my bank.
And he takes Bart's gun, gives him the new one, and runs out the door. Then Belle looks out the window and says,
I don't see any robbery.
Well, baby, it's all in where you look. You love this gun.
LOL. He got the gun. So the gun paid off there at the end. I thought it was pretty good to go out on. It's a decent joke.
Not bad.
Yeah, you got to get the last one over on the actual mayor. He hasn't paid any price for all this, so he's paid his gun debt to Bart for all the stuff that he's pulled off. He's apparently super gullible, so I'm sure that everybody all day just apparently runs by the mayor and goes, "Your bank's being robbed." Watches him run back in as they go the other direction.
They must be constantly being robbed.
Well, they are. They are being. Banks were robbed every day in the Old West. I think we all know this. If they weren't being robbed, somebody was plotting to rob them. So that's just the way it goes. He does a very J.D. Hogg run out the door. Save my bank! Save my bank! Almost expect the General Lee to fly by in the background as the doors open with Belle standing in it.
That is Black Bart. There are no other episodes. That's the only one.
There weren't 24 more episodes?
Despite the legend.
No, unfortunately.
Crazy.
Not even to satisfy a lawsuit.
I mean, did you see the other part of that lie that was on the internet about the episode count?
No.
Apparently somebody had tried to start the legend of that they had filmed 4 seasons of this show.
And shelved it?
Shelved it, and strictly for copyrights and to keep the rights. And supposedly they were about 8 to 10 episodes a season. So they filmed all of these, put them on the shelf, cast had done them all. And then, of course, they made fake quotes from Steve Landsberg that is like, oh, it's the worst experience I ever had. And just floated this story out here. And it has been just vehemently and, of course, denied by anybody and everybody who had anything to do with the show. But
just go to the comment section.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a stretch of a lie. Studios do some crazy stuff, but I don't think they're going to shelve 40 episodes.
No, that's absurd.
Of a television show, and just to keep a rights to a thing they're not going to use. It's kind of impressive that this pilot has so many lies told about it.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's got a lot of mythical backstory for a thing that most people can't possibly have seen or remembered, but there's just something that has drawn somebody's attention to just want to make some shit up about this.
We often find a lot of lore around pilots, and usually the people starting it haven't even watched the pilot. 1776 comes to mind. They would say that it was the American Blackadder, and it has nothing to do with Blackadder whatsoever.
It's so much less interesting, less well made than Blackadder. I mean, how can you even make the connection? What, just that it's old?
And the American Blackadder has a way more fascinating story.
I forget that was a thing.
The Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer.
Yes. That was good.
Yeah, it was actually a really good show. They got shut down before it had a chance to take off because it had people spreading lies about it. But anyway, release the Desmond Pfeiffer and put it on DVD. It deserves a full release.
Yeah, it really does.
I did manage to find a cracked article where they interviewed Michael Elias and talk about Black Bart. And in the article, he talks about how everyone thought this pilot was really strong and it was going to get picked up, and then he was really surprised when it didn't. But he doesn't really know why, so we don't really have a story as to what happened to this pilot or why it didn't make it. But I did have this little quote that I thought was pretty good. This is Michael Elias talking to Cracked. It wasn't a total loss, though. The show was, for a little bit at least, my meal ticket to a free lunch. The guy who played the gun salesman in the beginning of the episode
be horsewhipped. Sheriff
was a friend of mine named Jock Livingston, who was an actor, but hadn't worked for a long time. Jock owned a restaurant in Los Angeles named Ports, and after I cast him in the pilot, I got to eat there for free for 6 months. Hell, had the show got picked up, I probably could have eaten there for the rest of my life.
Oh my God.
Priorities.
Yeah.
That's probably a big deal back then. So, everybody likes a free lunch.
Yeah.
Who does? Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're struggling to make it in Los Angeles.
So what do you guys think? Why do you think that this pilot didn't get picked up?
I think that our friend Kathleen, the journalist from the beginning, summed it up. I don't think white people like being made fun of, and that was kind of front and center in this show.
Yeah, we are babies about that.
Yeah.
Not me, though.
No, I make fun of myself. That's the least racist thing of all.
We always know that it's not like they put these things on TV and if people love it, they pick it up. It's producers behind the scenes, old rich white men, and they don't want to be made to look like buffoons.
What about you, Joe?
It's not good. It literally only has like the same kind of plot of Blazing Saddles, of like fish out of water sheriff, and that's sort of where the similarities end. I mean, did you guys watch Blazing Saddles as well in preparation of this?
Oh, I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, I've seen it recently.
Yeah. I've literally watched it so many fucking times. One of my most watched movies. I absolutely adore that movie. But watching it again, right after watching this, they didn't get the cadence of it. They didn't get the irony. The Blazing Saddles is one of the most irony-rich movies of all time. And it kind of reminded me of how, when I was a kid, the scene that every fucking dad ever brought up to me was just the eating beans by the campfire scene.
How about some more beans, Mr. Taggart? I'd say you've had enough.
Oh, yeah.
That was all they ever thought about the movie. They didn't get the satire of it at all.
No.
And I think that that's what happened with the writers of this. They should have had Richard Pryor writing on this as well.
When I first moved into my apartment, my senior year of college, we had a bunch of people over, and we decided to put on Blazing Saddles. And it was all some new friends, people we didn't know, and some we did. And so we put this movie on, and it's summertime. The windows are open, the doors are open, house lived right on the street. And we're about 20 minutes into the movie, and there were a couple of girls who were friends and sitting on the couch, and one of them looks at me and she's like, I don't think we should be watching this movie. And I was like, why? She's like, the things that they say and what the people say and the words that they're using, it just feels like it's terrible. Like they're making fun of these black people in this movie. And she's going on. And I finally was like, you do know that the white people are the villain of this movie, right?
Yeah.
She just blank stared. The subtlety of it had gone clear past her. And I think all the stuff that was intrinsically unique about Blazing Saddles, they don't take all of it and use it in a new way for TV. The pat of it is tired. All the gags that they do use mostly are tired. And they had. By then, you've probably seen them 1,000 times. The one thing also they don't do is you kind of need somebody to root for. And the fact the Blazing Saddles villains wasn't they were racist. Harvey Korman's character wanted power and they want money and they want all the things that the basic greedy people want, the upper people. You're always fighting against the system. That's why they're the villains. Not that they're completely racist, because they're not smart about that kind of stuff. They're just reciting the dumb hickabilly stuff they probably grew up with that's insulting. And they're insulting them just to let them know their place. And in this one, everybody that's in this pilot, especially the white characters, are all super racist. They're really racist. And they're really super dumb. In that sense, I think that's the thing about Reb. Gene Wilder's character comes into Blazing Saddles, and he's smart. He is a smart dude. He's the
smart,
kind of guy you're like, oh, he and Cleavon Little are the two smartest guys in this movie, and they make a great team. And they don't give Lou Gossett that with Steve Landsberg's character, and I think that's another thing that kind of falls flat. And the people that aren't going to want to get it, they're just going to feel like, oh, you're just hammering on it, because there's no humor. Point out what it really is, pointing out the irony of it, and it's just something you can't squeeze all that into 22 minutes.
Right.
You just can't.
I think we're talking about Blazing Saddles. It's number 6 on the 100 best comedies ever made, and it's not really fair to compare a 20-minute TV show. You can't get that level of brilliance or humor. You have to condense it down to a television script, something we can do every week. We could just go grab a Gunsmoke script and just,
or a couple of dozen,
and then just write a bunch of gags.
Yeah, redo it and then just throw the N-word in there a couple times, and there you go.
Yeah.
That was the most shocking part of this. Still.
Yeah. And I think if you want to lift the Black Bart character and build around him and his journey, I think that was a smart idea. You can do that. You kind of need to make it its own thing. If they'd taken their inspiration from Black Bart and called this something else, that would have been one thing. Or if they're going to stick with that name and kind of at least try to trade off, and well, he's in another town now because he rode off at the end of the movie, that's fine. But you need to do, like, even in the credits, if the credits had done a little still picture of Art's journey from, on the dolly, making the railroad, to getting the badge pinned on him, to where he is now, it would at least give you 10 seconds of like, oh, for new people, I got it. I understand what's happening here.
Yeah, like they sang the whole theme song that explained his life.
Yeah, or anything like that. Some little sort of montage.
The end of the Civil War was near.
I mean, you think they do it think of Perfect Strangers and those kind of themes. They give you the backstory every episode in the theme song, and you're there. Then you can go any direction you want.
Yeah, but we've already got this footage of this stagecoach that looks really awesome with the brake.
We'll keep that.
And we could just slip it in there, and yeah, if it gets picked up, we can shoot. We can shoot a new.
Do the rewrite and have for the pilot. Have Bart come tumbling out of there.
Yes.
And he looks at the sign for the sheriff's office because that's where he's going in the first place.
Like do it like what's the show that's in Alaska?
Oh, Northern Exposure.
Northern Exposure.
Yeah, it's the same plot. The doctor shows up in the town when everybody's a little quirky.
Exactly.
But instead, he shows up in the town and everybody's a little racist, and they come to respect him because he's going to pistol whip them every time they use the N-word.
Right. He rolls out of the stage, dusts himself off, picks up his gun, walks into the sheriff's office, end credit, then pick up with every episode.
And then the moose walks down the street.
He shoots the moose.
Yeah, he shoots the moose.
They never did that, did they?
Did you like that? Did you? Well, I've got great news for you. There's plenty more where that came from. Go check out Piloting Air wherever you get your podcasts. And join in on the fun at Piloting Air on Twitter, at Piloting Air Podcast on Instagram. And hey, email us over at pilotingair@gmail.com. We are a Bridge Burner Collective podcast.